Hello, welcome back to Home Practice and this second Move Like Water episode, Drip Drop Flow.
Short clips from this season of Home Practice. Our disabled and non-disabled teachers dance and deliver their sessions in a brightly lit studio with a wooden floor. Pastel-coloured geometric shapes glide across to reveal text inside the outline of a house. Home Practice.
Hello, I'm Laura. I'm a white female. I have brown wavy hair that's scraped back in a messy bun. I'm wearing dance clothes in a variety of different blues, and I'm sat in my wheelchair in a light studio with a wooden floor. This episode is going to use the idea of different kind of water movement words to help us discover movement and different ways of moving. Now, if you've not done this before, you might like to start with Tom's episode, Move Like Water, Fluids. And in that episode, he explores how the body is made up of different fluids and how that can help you find your movement. In this episode, we're going to use water again, but we're going to particularly focus on how it can help us find transference of weight. The class is going to be split into 3 different sections. We'll start with an improvisation and exploration using the 2 images of flow and drip to help us discover our transference of weight. Then we're going to have a movement structure that we will layer on those different textures, those different water images. And then finally, we're going to use those images along with a few others to create a phrase at the end. So within this episode, it's not about how you look. Don't worry about that. It's about tuning into your body, taking what you need from the instructions I give to discover new ways of moving for yourself.
Hello, my name is Sherry. My pronouns are she, her. I am a white woman with freckles, blue eyes and brown wavy hair. Today I am wearing a white, brown, black and yellow stripy jumper with grey tracksuit bottoms. I will be doing a variation of Laura's class, so there are translations for you to use if you would like so.
So for this improvisation, exploration, we're focusing on 2 different qualities of water to help us find our transference of weight. The first one is flow and the second one is drip. As you're doing this, I'm really thinking about giving us space to focus in and tune in on our body. So don't worry about what it looks like. You're just taking that time to explore how you can move and maybe discover something new about your movement. We're going to start with the flow. And for flow, I'm really thinking of like a smooth, gentle stream. So it's calm, it's continuous, it's level. There's no stones or bubbles or anything. It's just one smooth, continuous, calm motion that we're going to use to help us find our transference of weight. So make sure you've got some space around you, make sure you're in some comfortable clothes, and let's get moving. So start by finding an upright position for yourself, one where you're ready to move. And we're going to think about where we are, where our limbs are weight bearing, what body parts are weight bearing. And imagine them grounding down into our supporting surface, whether that's a chair that you're sat on, or whether that's the floor. And then to help us, we're going to imagine that we're submerged in water. So we're underneath water. And where we're grounding in, imagine we're growing roots, a little bit like seaweed growing and attaching itself to the bottom of the sea. So just take that time. If you want, you can close your eyes or face away from the screen and think about sending your roots down, growing in, attaching where you're weight bearing into your supporting surface. And then from here, with that idea of being underwater, there's a gentle current that's flowing. And keeping yourself rooted down, you're going to let your body softly react to that current. So from your center, just finding a bit of a gentle sway. Could be side to side or forwards and back. Just to explore, find where our center is, where the edge of our balance is. And you can move your center a little bit more, start to really explore the edges of where you have that balance. How far can you move your center away from your starting position, still keeping rooted to the floor. Then we're going to imagine that the water level is dropping and it's coming down to about where our center is. And where we're rooted down, we're going to start to gently peel away. So we can peel our roots and then replace them in a different place. And as you're doing that, you're thinking about finding a smooth flow as you place your next transference. Wherever that is, whatever that is that's supporting you, whatever is weight bearing, could be hands through wheels, through crutches, could be feet into the floor. Finding as smooth a flow as you can with that transference. Thinking about the image of the smooth water. Just focusing in on that body part, that weight-bearing body part. And you can start to make the transfers a little bit bigger maybe, if you've got space. But always trying to find that smooth flow. Every time you change direction, make it as smooth as you can. Try and make it so you can't tell where one transfer starts and the next one stops. Once you're comfortable with that, you might want to try increasing the speed, but still keeping that sense of flow, smooth, continuous movement. If you want an extra challenge, you might then start thinking about adding in different body parts. So you've got your weight-bearing body parts, but you might also release and find some smooth flowing gesture as well to go with these transfers. Might help to think about keeping it nice and soft in your supporting limbs to help that smoothness. And you can keep with this, or if you'd like an extra challenge, you might think about finding some changes of level, but keeping that smooth flow. Maybe it's finding different body parts that support you, or maybe different surfaces, but keeping the smooth, continuous, even flow. And then have a bit more time just to explore anything that you'd like with that. Maybe you might change the speed a little bit more. Try a few different body parts. Maybe move a little bit quicker. And then finishing up in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming back to your stillness and your upright position. You can take a little bit of time to let that information settle into the body. How did that feel for you? Did it feel like a natural way of moving? Was it a little bit challenging? Was there anything that you found new within that way of moving? And then we're going to go on to our next quality, our next image, which is that of a drip. So when we think of a drip, when I think of a drip, it doesn't just land and stay solid. This drip of water, as it lands, it spreads out into the surface that it's landed on. So this time, each transference of weight is going to be individual and separate. But try, although it's separate, you're try and still keep a softness. So it's not a hard transference. Each transfer softens and spreads into the surface. So we can think about that water level going right down now, down to your supporting surface. Finding that base again. Feeling your support, where you're supporting yourself, where you're weight bearing. Start to shift your center. And then find these drips. So each transfer is separate. And individual. Again, you can just start focusing with the body parts that are supporting you, the body parts that are weight bearing. Don't worry about what it looks like. Take that time to tune in. You can vary the speed, vary the rhythm, mix it up a little bit. And then when you're ready, if you want, you can add different body parts, finding that drip through different parts of the body. And again, if you want an extra challenge, you can think about changing levels with your drips. Few more moments to take what you need from this image. And finishing up in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming back to stillness. Taking a bit of time for that movement now to settle. Have a think about how that felt for you. Did that feel more natural or maybe less natural than the flow? Did you have a preference for one or the other? Was there anything new that you discovered from that way of moving? Then we're going to have a bit more time just to explore what you want to. You might choose to go back to just the flow and revisit that. Now you've tried the drip. You might want to go back to the drip, or you might want to play with mixing the two together, the flow and the drip together. This is your time to take that information and really tune in and find out how it works for your body. And then finishing up your exploration in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and coming back to stillness. Now we're going to do our movement framework, and we will layer in those two different qualities of transfer over the top. So the movement framework is nice and simple. Start central in your upright position, and then we're going to transfer our weight in different directions. So we'll start on one side, transfer your weight forwards, and then close it back together. Transfer your weight to the side, close it back together, transfer it to the back, back together, and then to the side and together. Repeat that on the other side, forwards, together, side, together, back, together, side, together. That's it, straightforwards, forward, side, back, side, forward, side, back, side, like you're doing a little cross. And we're going to repeat that 4 times through. The first time we're going to use the quality of flow, that flow, smooth water, like the smooth stream. So finding your smooth flow forwards and together. Flow out to the side, together, flow to the back, together, flow to the side, together. Repeat that on the other side. The second time we're going to use drip. So finding it drip out and in. And with the drip, if you like, you can play about a little bit with the timing. So you might maybe do a couple of drips out and in, or you might also play and find a little moment of suspend and hold before you drip out. So you can have, if you want, a little bit of a play with the timing for that one. And then we're going to combine them. So we're going to do a flow out and a drip in, all of the different directions, flowing out and dripping in on both sides. And then we're going to reverse that. So we're going to do drip out and flow in. So that was flow in all the directions, drip in all the directions, and then flow out, drip in, and then drip out and flow in. 4 times through. So find, and we'll do it with some music, so find your upright position, making sure you're feeling nice and centered. Ready? 5, 6, 7, 8. Flowing out, flow out, and in, out, in, to the back, to the side, other side, forwards, and side, back, side, with the drips, drip out, to the side, to the back, to the side, other side, side, then flow out, drip in, flow out, drip in, back, side, other side. And side, then we drip out, flow in, drip out, flow in, drip out, and side, other side. And coming back to center. Excellent. If you want, feel free to go back and do that again. But we've going to go through the music one more time. This time, we're going to do it a little bit slower. So we're going to go half the speed. So it'll be out, out, in. And that's going to give us a little bit more time to think about our movement. So you can now mix it up. So explore mixing between the flow and the drip, however you like, keeping that same movement structure. So the forwards, side, back, side, and repeating. And then we'll do it 2 times. So the first time you might want to just think about mixing those 2 qualities together. But the second time through, you might want to add on some extra challenges. So that could be using different body parts. It could be changing levels, or it could be changing facing, or maybe just thinking about making those 2 different qualities nice and clean and maybe transferring your weight a little bit further. It's up to you. Lots of options. Pick whichever one works for you today. So, getting ready for the music, finding your upright central position, and then when we're ready. Ready? 5, 6, 7, 8. Going out, out, and in. Into the side. And in. To the back. And in. To the side. And in. Other side. Out. And in. Out and in, flowing out and in, to the side and in, and then mixing it up, adding the extra challenges and in. Coming back to your center to finish. Feel free to go through that as many times as you like. You can try different challenges each time. It's up to you. But next, we're going to move on to our phrase. So now we've got our dance phrase, and we're going to use different water movement words to inspire us to find maybe some new and interesting movement. Again, don't worry about how much space you've got. You just interpret the words how it works for you, and if you need to keep them small, that's absolutely fine. As we're going through, I will explain how I'm interpreting the moves or the words and what my movements are, but yours might end up looking quite different or feeling different depending on how you interpret them, and that's absolutely fine. The words that we're going to use, they are going to be in the description at the bottom of the video, but just to go through them to start with, to give you a little bit of a sneak into what they will be. We have flow, we have pour, we have drip, ripple, trickle, gush, splash. Some of them repeat. Pour. Then we also have slosh, which I think is my favourite one. Waves, then like pitter-patter, downpour, and then a whirlpool. So if you're a bit unsure about any of them, feel free to maybe have a look at them, and you might want to look them up, but I'm also going to explain them, and I've got a water bottle as well that can help me explain and show some of them. So let's get started. Again, find your upright position, and I'm going to be in the space and actually just slightly away from centre because I'm going to travel mine that way. So thinking back to the very start of this session, where we grounded down our weight bearing, where we were weight bearing, and we grounded down and planted our roots. So we're going to start with that image, and the image of the current moving past and flowing. So we find 4 kind of sways or flows. And they can be in any direction. 3, 4. And then on the 4th one, it's going to turn into a pour. So for me, I'm going to pour through my left-hand side. So I'm pushing weight down into my left wheel. And it's like I'm storing up that energy ready to move. So that is 4 kind of flows or sways. 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 4th one continues into a pouring the weight. Now I'm just going to show with my water bottle. I think Tom does this as well, but that idea of just, hopefully you can see through, pouring, sending the water from one part of the body into the other, so the other body part gets heavy. So we go flow, 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 pour, pressing down, storing up that energy, and then ready to send into a flow. So mine, through the energy in my wheel, it's gonna send me onto a diagonal, and I'm gonna reach out as I do it onto that diagonal. But yours might go in any direction. So flowing, a little bit of a travel, and then at the end of the flow, we've got 3 drips to come to a stop. And so I flow, and then I'm going to drip 1 wheel, and my lap. 3 drips. So that is flow, 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 pouring, flow to find a shift, drip, drip, drip. From here, the drips, it's like they've dripped into a little pool or a little puddle, and there's going to be a ripple that goes out and then comes back in. So wherever you've finished your last drip, find a ripple out and then back in together. You might find different body parts, they might ripple in different directions, but rippling out, rippling back in together. From here, we're going to imagine like we're scooping up some water. So first of all, a small scoop. I'm going to scoop with my hand up, and then I'm going to find a trickle. I'm imagining like there's a trickle going down my arm, a bit like water trickling down a window pane. So find a small scoop and then a trickle. It also kind of goes into my back and my shoulders. And then we're going to find a bigger scoop, find a big scoop, and then this time it's going to be like a gush backwards. So it's like you've got a bucket of water, tipping it out, and it all gushes. For me, it's going to send me backwards. Decide what direction your gush is going to go in. So that is from the small scoop, and trickle, and then a big scoop and a gush. Nice. From here, you might think about, make a decision as to how you finish your gush. So you've had this big surge of energy in whichever direction. Is it going to stop suddenly, like maybe it's hit a wall, or is it just going to trickle and filter out? Have a think about how you finish your gush. And then let's go from the top. Remembering if at any point you need a bit more time, feel free to pause and practice. So I'm going from the top with my flows. Flowing. 2, 3, 4, pouring through. Sending it out into a flow. Drip, drip, drip. A small scoop and a trickle. Then a big scoop and a gush. And I finish mine with a bit of a splash. So then from here, from that we gush, find your end to your gush. Then I'm thinking about a flow, but in 2 different directions, which then changes my direction. So I'm flowing backwards with my front wheel and then forwards with my other arm. So it turns me more or less a half turn. So flowing one direction and the other to change your direction. From here, I'm going to pour. So I'm thinking again about that, like I did with the water bottle, pouring the weight, and I'm going to go from the top of my head towards the front, towards the camera, pouring. From here, I'm going to get as low as I can, and I'm going to do a slosh. So I'll grab my water again. So it's a bit like maybe you've got a bowl of washing up water or a container of water, and you slosh it one way and the other, and it kind of hits and rebounds either side as you do that. So this is the slosh. So it can be a little bit, it's not necessarily direct, but it's contained within a certain area. So going back, that was from, we'd just done our 2-way flow, then we do our pour, and then I'm going to do 2 sloshes, 1, 2, and for my 2 sloshes, that's I'm pulling on the wheels in different directions to change to one diagonal, change to the other, and I kind of think about like hitting the edge of the bottle, hitting the edge of a bowl of water. Take a bit of time if you need. And then I'm going to go again from the top. So we have our flows. Flow, 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 pouring, and then flow out. Drip, drip, drip. Small scoop and trickle. Big scoop and gush. Then our 2-way flow. Our pour, and then our slosh and slosh. Nice. From here, I'm thinking about waves, like waves on the edge of the beach. But before each wave kind of ripples and rolls onto the beach, the water sucks back and draws back in. So I finish my slosh, and I'm going to think about drawing the water in and then rippling it forwards. I'm going to do that 3 times. Drawing it in, rippling it forwards, drawing it in, rippling it forwards, and then finish with one last drawing in. So that's 3 times, and you can either get bigger each time if you want, or you might want to do it with a different body part. I'm kind of mainly rippling through my arms, and I'm taking it on a slight diagonal. Let's go from the end of the gush. So you've done your gush, you've found your end. Then we do a 2-way flow. We do our pour, our slosh, slosh, and then draw the water in, ripple forwards. Draw in, ripple forwards. Draw in, one more ripple, and a last draw in. We're nearly there. So from here, going back to those drips. But this time I'm thinking about starting gently with just a few, and then it builds up like pitter-patter rain until it's a really heavy downpour. For me, I'm going to focus on just starting internally, seeing if I can find some drips internally, and then I'm going to use my arms as well to find those drips into the downpour. Think about how you're going to do that. Start small, and then get more and more and bigger and bigger and bigger, and then till you're a downpour, and then just have a shake it all off. Flick the water off your body. We're nearly at the end. So after the downpour, flick the water off. We're going to imagine that we're stirring some water to create a whirlpool. So you can start with wherever you like. I'm going to start in the torso again. So I'm going to start stirring in one direction. Then I'm going to bring in my arm to stir. And then it's going to get so big that it's like I get sucked up into the whirlpool. So I take a turn, maybe another one. And then feeling like you're going down the plug hole and out at the end. And that's the end. So let's just do that last little bit. We've done our waves, and then we find the pitter-patter, getting heavier and more to our downpour. Shake it up, and then find a stir, whipping up the whirlpool. And then splatting out at the end, or however you want to find the end to your whirlpool. I'm going to go through from the top again. So, finding your centre to start, find the sways and flows. 3, 4, pouring the weight, flowing, drip, drip, drip. Small scoop and trickle, big scoop and gush. Then two-way flow. Pouring, sloshing, waves, drawing it in, ripple out. Draw in, ripple out. Draw in, ripple out, and draw in. Then the pitter-patter, getting heavier, getting more, shake it off, and then stir, whip up the whirlpool. And finish. Ooh, a little bit dizzy. Excellent. Take the time you need if you want to pause and have a practice. Then we're going to do it with music. We'll have the space for doing it 3 times through. I will give some words for the first time I do it, but then it's up to you. You can find your own pace, your own rhythm. Find how it works for you. Okay. flow. Pour. Flow. Drip, drip, drip. Ripple. Scoop. Trickle. Scoop. Gush. Two-way flow. Pour. Slosh, slosh. Draw in and wave, ripple. Again. And again. And pitter-patter. Into your downpour. Flick it off and stir. We'll have space for going through it 2 more times in your own timing. Once more. Thank you for joining me for this episode, Drip Drop Flow. Do take care of your bodies. If you need to do a cool down, please do either for yourself or have a look in our series, as there's various episodes that can help you cool down. If you enjoyed the session, please do remember to give it a like, and also subscribe to keep up to date with all of the episodes coming out. We've got more coming out, and also a big back catalogue that you can go through to find what you need for your movement. Thank you again for joining me, and see you soon.
Home Practice, Stopgap Dance Company.